This is Pete Feenstra for Get Ready to Rock Radio, speaking to Henry's Funeral Shoe, I want to say. And tonight we're at the first ever UK Blues Challenge. And you boys on my right, Henry's Funeral Shoe, are in the semi-final, right? Hoping to get to Europe in 2015. On my immediate right, I'm speaking to
Brenig.
On my immediate right again, Ali. And Henry's Funeral Shoe, the best big band blues outfit you ever saw. And there's only two of you. When did you first decide that was going to be the case?
After being in bands for a long time and more members, more problems. So, yeah, especially being in band with your younger brother, you can always bully him.
So, how long have you been together as this band?
7 years maybe. In 2008 we got together, but we didn't jam continually. We had a couple of knocks and then didn't bother, and then it was never consistent. We didn't really take it seriously, and then in 2009 I think we took it seriously. So yeah, since then. So.
And where did the record interest come from?
When did what? Sorry, when
record interest?
Immediately, my brother put it straight on. I'd been working in London for a long time. Well, I've been in bands for a while, and I was working in London, and I just got my bands disillusioned and decided to come home and just do nothing really. And my brother kept pestering me to just jam, and I didn't want to. I'd had my day. I was happy to just play acoustic gigs, and we go on the route together, and it just felt like magic. So
which one was the guitar player, which is the drummer?
Well, I'm the good-looking one, so I'm the guitar player.
There you go. So it's an interesting fact, you're in this International Blues Challenge, which is cool. You've been to the States where you played a great big alternative, I guess you call it alternative indie festival. How did that come about?
Well, through our previous record label, Alive Records, we were signed to them, and just sort of association with other people. And we just got asked over by a guy called Chris Johnson, he's a real sort of he's a great guy. He puts his festival on every year and brings in bands from all over, and he's really sort of patriarch, if that's the right word, of music, you know.
Yeah.
People like him sort of make it work for bands like us, or make it happen, and make us the opportunities to tour. And that's how it came about, from his generosity, really, and connections from the...
And it was an interesting lineup on that festival, wasn't it? Kind of musically, it was all kind of real left field.
Oh yeah, some of the most wonderful players, and they come up from Florida. There was some great ragtime guys, and yeah, it was just.
Who was on that for people out there?
Well, there was Left Cruiser, Radio Moscow, Lee Baines and Glory Fires. Their new album is fantastic. A real proper southern band, and this doesn't. I mean, this maybe sound a bit condescending, really, but they're the proper southern band. They're not like a pretend skinhead band, or they're the real. You know, they got something to say. Yeah. Bands like and
the new generation of it.
Absolutely. And then a guy called Mark Chop, who was our he was our chauffeur, if you want, and our bodyguard. You know, he was our bodyguard in Detroit. Let me tell you. And he took us around. A great harmonica player, great slide player. So we got to play, watch his set throughout Chicago and how he works the crowd. And he saved our ass in, where was it, Fort Wayne? Yeah. When I lost my voice, I got not used to the air conditioning. So we just had to play, and Paul Chop he's like a jukebox, man. Yeah. And we just backed him, and he'd shout up the changes, and he was good. He's an amazing person, a great musician. So he played like harmonica for Left Cruiser, and Jim Diamond played bass out there. He's like a great, he played the Dirt Bombs. Another guy we met, so we got to meet all these people. It's just
and was it difficult having I guess had a natural high of being in the States and being in all those weird situations to come back home?
No, it's always nice to come home.
Yeah, but it was. It was. I think the nice part is that the people we met out there we're still in contact with today. And genuine, really good friends now.
The internet has made things a smaller place.
They don't feel that far away.
Yeah, there's a lot of crap on the internet. So those type of things make it a bit more real, and you keep like the fact that you play with Lee Baines and watching their progression, and the fact that you were there when they maybe weren't as good as they are now.
But one of the things, the most interesting things about the band is the fact that you are you're partially kind of in the blues, kind of influenced by the blues, but you dragged it into a whole new thing. And I guess you just consider it your own music anyway, and it just happens to be an influence, does it?
Yeah, because
how does that work?
I think we're a blues band, like a simple rock and roll band, almost.
Yeah, we never kind of write music for genres, do we? We just kind of write music, and if it sounds good, no matter.
And he doesn't listen to music, you know.
Right.
He just does what I tell him. But no, you know, our albums have country songs on there, and one has one with a loop pedal because I love hip hop. And Show Off did all that in one take in the studio. And like our albums are like 3 takes max because you want a live feel, like the Zeppelin stuff where you feel the speed. And our EP is the same really. I mean, there's a song on there where it's just guitar and harmonium and delay pad just to be experimentative.
And the current album is called what?
It was an EP called Comfortable Skin.
Right.
So.
And how is that different from your last album then? Is it kind of a progression there?
There's a progression, yeah, there's some horns on it.
Horns?
I think the fact of the matter is now we set up our own label. So, and we live records, we can't speak highly enough of them because these opportunities came about through them.
Yeah.
But you're limited with the budget they have because they're not a big label and stuff. So, maybe things we thought were a good idea, they didn't think it was a good idea at the time because of the money. And we see that having set up ourselves, and you see how costly vinyl and blah. So now we're just in charge of our own ship, so we can take those.
But when you were involved with them, did they kind of shape you in any way or suggest you go in this direction in any way?
They suggested directions, and you can see why.
Yeah.
But I just knew we weren't like any of the other bands because they're American bands.
Yeah. They're all formulaic or something.
Well, they're American bands. They're sort of influenced by where they are. Geographically.
Yeah.
And and by we can't sing about the rivers from Wales because you can't bloody pronounce them and things like that. So it's a different thing. So we came from a massive Kinks fan, so I was always aware of keeping it real in terms of where we are. But and then touring that shape, so you see the response from the crowds. So that's it. But they suggested for our benefit in terms of maybe they asked us maybe do a covers album and stuff, and that's a good idea. But I just didn't think it worked for us, especially as a two-piece. It's awkward to do.
But then they're all supportive of what we decided.
Yeah, they're brilliant label. It was just purely the fact they were based in LA, we were based here, and we brought out our contract so we could just do what we wanted.
So let me ask you a question now about the EP. If I said to you boys, pick a track from the radio now that represents what you're doing now from the current EP you put out, which one should we play?
I would say Grown So Angry because it's a slightly more modern sound and it's catchy, it's a catchy riff. There's a different sort of middling to what's usual. So I would say that.
Grown So Angry by Henry's Funeral Shoe. Let's listen to this. Alright, this is Pete Feenstra on the Pete Feenstra feature, speaking to Henry's Funeral Shoe. Two guys that are going to conquer the world, have already done half of it. Is there any kind of musical restriction on you or stylistic restriction because you are a two-piece rather than... I know you mentioned the thing about having the whole band and that.
Yes, stylistically no, but in terms of what you can do creatively as a two-piece, then maybe, but I think what we do when we write, certainly with the newer stuff, is we always have different instrumentation in mind. So we make it work as a two-piece, and then you can elaborate on it.
And do you have a producer involved in that at all?
We produce ourselves.
You do? And you have a third pair of ears anywhere that comes in and says?
No, we don't have the money for that. That would be nice, but we got
an engineer someplace.
Well, Jim Diamond mixes them,
so
he gets that massive sound. And we use Tim Hamill, who's got a great set of ears.
So we have got the people. It's nice to work with them and their feedback you take on board. It's nice to sit in a room with somebody that when they give you kind of advice on what you think, you take it.
So next time you actually write a song or come to record stuff, you've got that in mind.
And we use the same studio because we're comfortable there and we trust his opinion.
This is in Wales, right?
And
now I've got to ask you this as well. South Wales has always been a rich musical hotbed of all kinds of music, rock and roll, blues, soul, all that, eat clubs, the whole thing. In your current lineup, are you able to gig regularly down there? when you go back?
Yeah, we have a lot of support as well.
Yeah.
We're selling out to the capacity venues in Wales and in the Midlands at the moment. But yeah, there's some good venues.
Yeah.
Some of my favorite bands, my friends are actually in those bands.
Yeah.
You know, and I always say this, like Cardiff's never produced. Cardiff's the city. Yeah. It's never produced. Not whereas you have Manchester, Liverpool. It's never produced a great band. In that sense, it's always come from the valleys, from the Swansea Valley or further afield west. You know. Yeah. And some of my favourite bands now are still in Wales, my friend's band. So yeah, it's good, and we get to play with those. Yeah. Or if you don't fancy the night of being nervous and stuff, you just go and watch them. You just drink whiskey and sleep on the floor.
The other question was influences generally before you both were in the band together, Henry's Funeral Shoe anyway. Who apart from the Kinks that you mentioned, who are the other kind of contemporary or older influences that have led you to where you are now? Both of you.
You just play the PlayStation and done some music, so I don't really know.
I think my biggest influence of bands going back like the Who and stuff like that.
I used to slip Faces albums into his door, because he had a drum kit when he was 9.
So
our neighbours, we had a little terraced house, and our neighbours.
So I used to just find, little presents under my door, and I just listen to them, and then
soaked it all in.
But he'd be like listening to some real crap
as well.
So I slid under his door, and then one day I remember he was playing along to Stay With Me with Feenstra. I got him now. And from then on, it just kind of. But what he didn't know, he could play and sing at the same time. And I was like, right. So I won't tell him how to get.
So do you both write?
Well, it's. I think the lyrics. I was phenomenal at writing, and I haven't got that gift, to be honest. But
because it is a gift.
It is. I'll give you that one. That's all you get. I mean, we come together then. It's collaborative. Yeah. So it is. The songs themselves are collaborative. Lyrics, obviously, from Al, but we haven't got a kind of formula to write in other than coming to practice with ideas, isn't it?
But yeah, and it's like. We don't go to practice unless I have something to, some things will come up in new. Yeah, and I just lock myself away, and I like that solitary sort of thing. And then the arrangement is collaborative. And because he doesn't listen to music, God knows how he drums, I don't know. But I can sing things to him, and instead of mourning and just saying like, I've been in bands before and drummers will say, you're a guitarist, don't tell me what to do.
This has been Pete Feenstra on the Pete Feenstra feature. We're going to go out, go on, finish.
Well, if I sing something to him, instead of complaining, he'll just try and find what it is I'm trying to sing, and then just goes from there. And even if he's like, oh, I've got to, I don't know,
so I got to stand on a melody on a drum kit.
Yeah, and it just
that's interesting.
Yeah, and it just works really, and then it makes him more productive. And
so he's relying on your phrasing, isn't he?
Yeah.
The drummer.
Yeah. So, well, it's a heartbeat. If you haven't got a good drummer. Yeah. I'm still looking for one, but if
Terry Williams,
yeah, he had a good slap on the drums.
Yeah. Anyway, this has been Pete Feenstra speaking to Henry's Funeral Shoe. It's been an absolute pleasure. We're here at the first UK Blues Challenge. They're about to go on stage, so we can't hang about. Hopefully you'll make it to Brussels, boys. If you do, we'll do another interview in front of a dartboard.
If not, we'll still be on tour anyway.
Pete Feenstra, Get Ready to Rock Radio. Thank you.
Thanks
Good night.
Cheers.